Hello, everyone. Hi, Bejanae.
Hey, Dr. Houston, how you doing? Hey,
Um,
everybody out there.
I'm doing well. Um,
Good.
Now, you haven't had your spring break, right?
I did. I took like a
Oh,
mini spring break and ended up going to Tybee Island. So that's a little bit
oh.
past Savannah, Georgia. Get a chance to get a little beach action. So it was good. It was good. It was short-lived, but it was much needed and appreciated.
Yeah, I've heard that that's a nice area, but I haven't visited that one specifically. So I
Yeah.
did get to go to Atlanta and Detroit during my spring break.
Oh,
Uh,
nice. And actually, Tybee is not too far from Hilton Head. South Carolina. So yeah, you gotta come on down and let me know when you do so I can get an excuse to go back down too.
I will definitely. Well, thank you all for joining us. Hi, Lindsay. I am Dr. Sheka Houston, co founder of Create and Educate, where we help connect authors, speakers, entrepreneurs, anyone who has a service or a product that they would like to connect or get inside schools through our module program and also through our email newsletter that we send to all of the educators we are connected to. And we have Miss Bejanae Kareem, our grant guru. Tell them who you are, Bejanae, and how you can help.
Absolutely. I'm Bejanae Kareem, everyone, educator, author, equity advocate, and founder of BK International Education Consultancy. Our mission is to help amplify equity so children of color can access innovative education regardless of their zip code. And so, some of our primary areas is providing professional learning around integrated learning, which I call STEM education or STEAM education, but also how can educators and those who are creating education programs tap into funding, understand the science of grant writing, and leverage those dollars that are out there that people are wanting to donate and give to causes that are going to help support education and educational programs. So I'm excited to be here and to learn more from these other authors. It's so exciting to be in a room of authors because everybody brings something different and interesting to the table, and how they got started in their writing journey, so to speak. So I can't wait to hear about these two authors that we have coming up.
Well, let's bring them right on up, and I'm going to let you introduce them
All
while I
right.
share out to some groups and we can get some more people this information. Hi,
Absolutely.
thank you all for
Hello,
joining us.
hi, how's everyone?
Hi. Hey,
Doing
hey.
well.
So in honor of National Poetry Month, we are honoring these two poets here today, and they're going to tell us more about their work and inspire us with their reading if we have some time at the end. I'm going to start off with ladies first. So I'm gonna start by introducing Dr. Christie Black. Did I pronounce that
Morel.
right?
Morel.
Morel. I'm going to get
That's
it.
all right.
Dr. Christie
It's
Black
okay.
Morel.
A tongue twister.
That's right. And she's not too far away from me. I'm in Atlanta. She was born and raised in Columbus, Georgia, which is about 100 miles south of Atlanta, Georgia. And all her life, she has used writing as an avenue to express her feelings and her creative imagination. She has several publications beginning from all the way back to 2008 with Random Thoughts of Perplexed, Relaxed Soul. And it's a collection of poetry. Ooh, I can't wait to hear about that. And then in 2012, she released Soul Cries, which was her first audio book of poetry. And then 2014, Show Me Love, which is a collection of poetry. And then she's been going, like she's been consistent. In 2020, she also released her very first interactive children's book, Do You Know, which is a powerful praise from parents to child. So um, and she also paired Do You Know with a coloring book because you can't forget that, right? It helps to invoke positivity, and there's a journal included with affirmations. So just wrapping the whole child up with love and support. And then in 2021, she didn't let the pandemic slow her down. Okay, she released 2020, the year that blew up my life and my safe places mindfulness journey. And then lastly, Dr. Christie Black Moreau. We also got a note that she's a devoted wife and mother and believing and finding the positive things, those silver linings in all things. So I just need to pocket you and put you in my pocket or on my shoulder with that sprinkle of positivity.
Absolutely.
So thank you and welcome to our show tonight. And we also have Tundeen. Hey, Tundeen.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
And for Tundeen, he was inspired by a wide range of books covered in literature classes in secondary education school for both O and A levels. What are O and A levels?
That's like your GCSEs, end of secondary school. Then the A levels are like, college before university.
Learn something new every day. Learn something new every day. So he was inspired from the wide range of literacy classes where their critiques addressed the influence of society on the writer and the subsequent attempts of the writer to enlighten society. And so he developed an awareness and an appetite for recording his observations. Ooh, true like a scientist. I love it. His postulations as fledgling social commentary. And so writing became an avenue for him to both crusade against things that felt wrong, as well as to exalt virtues of things that were impressive and evolving in his mind. So those are a little bit about our two featured authors tonight. So we're going to dig in a little bit deeper. So welcome.
Thank you.
To have you.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Thank you. And both of your bios are definitely so interesting and things that we definitely could use in schools. Just tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got on the path to becoming a published author and what made you, what inspired you to become a writer and an author.
Who wants to go?
Ladies first.
Ladies first. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I would say my journey as a writer has kind of, you know how people say oftentimes things we don't choose our path chooses us. I've been writing as a means to just walk through life. Like it was my healing as a teenager, which turned into it was a pastime that turned habit, that turned healthy, that turned into healing. So I started out just writing just because, and then it turned into lots of poetry of all of my different feelings, which became my very first book. That's why it's Random Thoughts of a Perplexed, Relaxed Soul. And it's exactly that. The whole book goes between two different emotions, like joy and pain, how they contradict each other, but they kind of all blend together to make us who we are, pretty much. It's and it just continued. Like I love spoken word. And then I became a mom. And when I became a mom, I knew that there was such a need. As a school counselor, I see kids all day, every day, but I knew the need for books that reflected images of our little brown and Black children. So why not write them? If you don't see those books you want in a library, you don't see those books in the stores, you write them. And so that's exactly what I took that mantra and went and ran with it. And here I am 6 children's books later, and still writing. So that's me in a nutshell. And that's what got me going. That's what keeps me going.
That's awesome. Did you say 6 books later?
6 children's books later now, 13 books later in whole.
Wow, that is awesome. And I'm so glad you brought that up about the importance of children being able to see themselves in books, because that was one of the things that inspired my business partner, Tammy Taylor, and I to try to connect more self-published authors with schools, because we weren't even aware that this whole network or group of self-published authors existed, because the only place we ordered books from was from the catalogs that they sent to the schools and Scholastic. So when we discovered it, we were like, wow, this is the piece that's been missing, because when we started putting those books in the classrooms and the teachers' libraries, the kids really became more interested in reading and connected better with the text.
Absolutely. I see it every day.
Definitely. Dean, what about you?
Well, like you rightly, like Bejanae said earlier on, I read a lot of, I did a lot of reading in school. Like for my O levels, which was end of secondary school, I actually did my curriculum like twice because I did exams back to back. So it was a whole load of literature, and same for the A levels. And all along, the schooling was that you don't just read; you read to enlighten yourself. You read to engage with society. So you are actually being taught to be a critic, and that's how I got into writing. I could be riding along in a bus, driving in a car, attending a party, any event, and I'll just have, from what I see, what I'm observing, I would have lines running through my mind. And in order not to lose those lines, I would actually pick up anything. It could be a piece of paper, a scrap of an envelope, and I'll try and or sing it in my mind, put rhymes so that maybe at the end of the trip I'll be able to quickly recollect and put them down. So I've been assembling all this for quite a while. I shared it with a few people. They said they liked it. Oh, this is nice. Why don't you share it some more? So this has gone on for over 20 years, and I only first published when I was 50. I did a commemorative booklet to celebrate, which I presented to the guests at my 50th and my wife's 40th, and that was for charity. And so it's like it was a commemorative edition. And ever since then, again, I've shared my work on Instagram, on Facebook. And again, I was encouraged that, look, what are you doing? Where are your books?
Right.
So essentially, I then broke my all the collections into themes, because I thought, look, it won't be fair to put everything in one book and get people to force on people things they might not be interested in. So like I have political themes, romantic themes, everyday themes, gender themes. So I've separated them, and I have a whole collection, and it's like 4 coming out at the same time. 2 are out. There's 2 to come. In short, just on the back of those as well. And I'm sure there's one coming out that you're all going to like, and that's called Feminine Glow. It just it's feminine glow. It just glows, in her soul. And I'm sure each and every one of you would, should grab a copy of that. So it's like an ode to womanhood, to feminism. Yeah, a he. If you don't mind, it's a he for she, but I got your backs. Yeah.
I love it. I mean, and I am just so impressed. So I'm like only 1 book in on the shelf. But the fact that you all have so many, you have to share with the audience a valuable tip or 2 that you could offer other authors. Like any tip that you want to offer other authors, what would it be, since you all have published multiple times?
Oh, there's so many things that I learned. Bejanae, that is
I know that's a whole nother show, right?
That is a loaded question.
Right. But if you could give us 2, what would those?
I could give you 2. The biggest one I say, and I say it time and time again to new authors, is make sure you research your topic. Oftentimes I find that as authors, we're very passionate about certain things. We just are. And we feel like, oh, this is going to be great because we just love it. Mm-hmm. But just because you're passionate about something, I'm not saying don't write that. But if you want to write a book that sells, be sure that you research who else wants to read that topic. Mm-hmm. And is it a topic that people are looking for? Mm-hmm. Are you feeling a need? Basically, that's what you want. You want to feel a need out there. You don't want to just write a book because people say, I wrote a book and it's great, but nobody's buying it. They're not buying it because it didn't feel a need. Mm-hmm. There's a million books like that. So you want to make sure you're feeling a need. That's a big one. Make sure these are lessons I've learned. So that's I'm sharing the lessons that I've learned. If you're writing a children's book specifically, be sure that your illustrator has a contract. Do not just, because we get so excited and we see them draw one thing. We're like, oh, this is it. It's great. I found the person. Don't hold back on paying for a good test illustration. Don't hold back.
Okay.
If someone offers you a test illustration for $5, just know you get what you pay for. So that's just a good tip for people who are writing children's books.
I love that. And I see one over your shoulder there. Can you show us that book? Yeah, little
yes.
Illustrations. Yeah.
So this is a coloring activity book. My illustrator is Naomi. She is actually she's out of India. But this is these are my two little, I've always like I said, I like my little brown boys and brown girls on the cover. But this one goes along with Do You Know? So this little family unit we got going on here. But yeah, so and you keep the same illustrator for those books. You want all those people to look the same somewhat.
Great tip. Thank you.
Definitely.
Yes, your book essentially can be a business, right? And so you have to start. All businesses should start from a need. What need are you addressing out, as they say in business, like out in the marketplace or in for readers, so that it can be marketable.
Right.
So great point.
And just to add on to what you're saying, Bejanae, one thing that we do with our Conducting Business with Schools modules, where we show authors how to connect with schools, we show you how to figure out what problems you're solving with schools. Because if you're not solving problems in the school, the administrators or whoever is over that pot of money is not going to be willing to invest it that way. So we show you how to connect to the problems that need to be solved in schools in order to make sure that your book is a resource there. So I'm glad you brought that very good point up.
And that's a great point, because the same thing for grant writing. So you all are authors here, educators as well. It's the same thing when you write a grant application. You're starting from what is the need? What are you addressing that you need funding for? Why as an organization, right? Should I give you money?
Right.
What is it that you plan to do with it? And how do you know that that is a need? So it's the same fundamental across all threads, getting your books into school. Please take Tammy and Sheka's course, because they are the Da Vinci Code whisperers. They will give you all the tips. And then you could also take our course as well as a follow-up, so that you can get those books covered and paid for, so that you can work with schools easily, because that is also sometimes a pain point for Sometimes if you come like, hey, we have these books, they've already been funded, it's easier to get in the front door and in front of
all the
school administrators.
Yeah, and all the kids that you want to get the books in their hands.
All the kids that it will serve, and teachers as well. And Dean, how about you? Same for you. Two tips.
Yeah, like Dr. Christie said, I totally agree with her. There's no point writing without producing content that people want to engage with. So looking around you, what are the issues of the day? Like I tend to take themes that border on everyday affairs. So you look at things like bullying in school. That's a topic that it's something we deal with every day. You look at disenfranchisement of women. That's another topic. Even in like things like religion, we all say my way is the right way, so we're intolerant of each other. But why is there war in the world today? Why is there no peace? Why are we not having conversations? So I try to not dwell, but right on top of things that people want to engage with, that can educate and promote more understanding in society. And then you find out that yes, people are quite interested in signing on to that. So you can see like the first one I did was it's called Light and Resonance. I don't know if you can see that. So that has to do with different religious perspectives and how we can actually come together as a society, not discriminating against each other. I have Short Circuit. It's the politics of living on a daily basis. Everybody, it's politics. How do we interact with each other and what have you? And again, like I said, this was my first publication. It was a private publication. It had limited an audience for a party, and did limited distribution. And I just made sure that all the proceeds of that went to charity. So now it's all about making books that are both meaningful and are profitable at the same time. And one tip I would also give is like share your work. If you have an upcoming writer, you might think is your work good enough. Share it with your close friends and family. Share it on the social media. You get feedback. Join groups. There are writing groups out there for new authors, budding authors. Get some inspiration, and you develop the confidence to say, look, I do have something to tell the world. I have something that the world wants to hear. And then you should go ahead and go for it. And don't wait for the big publishing houses. You can do it yourself. Yeah.
Go for it.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all. Those are definitely awesome tips and things that I know will be helpful. Tammy and I are also in the process of writing our series. Well, we actually have it written, but we're getting our illustrator to illustrate our 5-book children's series, the Awakening series. So we're excited about that. So your tip about the contract, thank you. That is definitely very helpful. And when you all get ready to read your excerpts, and I want to make sure Bejanae, if she wants to share any more about the modules or the courses, and then we'll get into you all sharing an excerpt out of whichever publication that you would like to share from. And if you have a poem or something that you would like to read, we would love to hear it.
Absolutely. So I did share in the chat our upcoming grant writing for authors course. So as Sheka mentioned, as Christie also mentioned, as Dean mentioned, it's important for you to start from the need, whether it's your concept of the book that you're writing, what need are you addressing for the school system that you want to approach, or the school, as well as if you're writing for funding. And so in the grant writing for authors course, we unpack that. We show authors where they can go and find grants. As well as we have our own resource on Amazon, self-published. It sounds like amongst this group, that's the way to go, right? Indie authors unite.
Unite.
On Amazon, called 12 Quick Steps to Writing Winning Classroom Grants. And then we also have self-paced course as well. And with all those courses, you can also get continuing education units for your time for taking those particular courses. And what I would recommend for you two, because it sounds like you all have different target audience ranges. So everything from, like you said, the coloring book, which what I call are the littles, all the way to this more current events, to thinking about society, unpacking the critical analysis. So a range from all the way from elementary, it seems, to high school. You all possibly could go after grants to help fund and support you working and collaborating with either a school or even a district within itself. And it would be a great way to segue into where you could do an author visit, where you could do a reading of excerpt if you would like with the school. And once that happens, it's great because other schools will hear about it, other districts, they tend to talk amongst each other. And it's a great segue to, again, to expand your reach as well as your readership and your bottom line and your sales as well. That doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt as well, right? And so that's definitely coming up, and I'm excited. I think our next class is May, actually the 7th is coming up. So we're excited to have you. Hope you all sign up and join to unpack that piece and getting those books out there without you having to donate them for free. Because there's a cost. You got to print them, you got to ship them, and all those things, right? You have to pay your illustrator, and you need to pay yourself as authors, right? That's right. Sheka, did you want to share anything else about the courses that you all have? And then I'm excited to hear these called little appetizer excerpts from your book, so we can share with the audience tonight.
I just placed in the comments where you could purchase from. So if you are interested in purchasing, that information is in the comments. But I'm excited to hear the excerpts as well. And I'm putting you all's connecting information in the comments as well, where people can connect with you and purchase your books.
Excellent. All right. So, Dr. Christie, we started with you first. Let's switch it up. for gender equity purposes, Dean, we're gonna go with you.
I'm all for it.
For a
Okay.
for a quick little excerpt, if you wouldn't mind.
All right.
Reading
Yeah.
us a little something.
Yeah. So this is has to do with identity, and it's called Our Own Dear Native Cup. Okay. So why make a cup when there it is provided by bounty, also natural? A god on a tree, its rind browned with time, a former living vegetable, long and slender, or short, wide and squat. A stroke of the blade is all it takes to be made. A scraping out of its innards renders it nice, whole, and hollow. Dried out in the sun, it's ready for use. Who says Africans of old Arcaboland, the cradle land, were a useless and lazy lot? Who says they needed to develop sophisticated glass technology to drink to their fill, and Mother Nature provided sweet and pure palm wine? Ah, cool, cool tombo, white holy water. It is quite obvious nature had long suggested the direction which tropical technology should pursue. Well managed we would, if only we develop for international exchange our own God-given, free of any charge, beautiful natural resources before we then borrow foreign tastes and alien ways. Let us promote our own cup by using it with glee. With some degree of refinement, it can stand upright on its own and even durable be. I'll stop there so that I don't know how much time we have, and I would Dr. Christie to have a chance to, read our excerpt as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank
That
you.
was
thank you
awesome.
so much.
It was. Thank you.
Okay.
Awesome.
Stimulate those neurons.
Right. I was like, following that. Okay.
Thank you.
So I'm sitting here debating because all of my children's books are social emotional learning books. That's what I write. Mm-hmm. So what I'm going to do is the affirmation book that I have is literally one affirmation per page. Mm-hmm. Plain and simple. It's really geared towards like pre-K, kindergarten, maybe first grade is the oldest, I would say, because by the first grade they can read it on their own.
Okay.
But I want to share a poem. So I'm going to only share like 2 pages out of children's book. Then I'm going to switch to the poem because I know we're talking about speaking to up and coming authors. And the poem that I'm writing the poem I want to share is Tell Your Story. So it will kind of hopefully be encouraging to them to go ahead and go out and write.
And I love the connection between identity here. I love it. Okay.
Yeah. It's good stuff. So do you know powerful words of praise from parent to child? And it is literally, and the way I read it to kids. So this one says, you will move mountains. And it is literally a child pushing a mountain. But the way I read the story is I do it as a call and response. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to practice it with y'all, just like you were my littles listening to the story. So when I say you will move mountains, I want you to catch it. You turn it into an I statement and you say, I will move mountains. Okay? Got it? Let's do it. You will move mountains.
I will move mountains.
There you go. Awesome. One more. Let's see. Oh, I love this one. You are so loved. Catch it.
I am so loved.
You are so loved. Everybody stretch your arms out real wide, wrap them around your bodies. I am so loved. If you can't tell right now, I'm a school counselor and a mama all day long. So elementary school counselor. So I'm switching gears now. So this is called Tell Your Story. Speak your lived existence. Speak your lived experience. Verbalize the welfare that you have fought and the victories you've achieved. Shed light on the turmoil that was once your best friend. Give insight on how walking your own path can lead to destruction. Write the tale of an inner city or your very own West Side story. Whatever it is you have to say, however it is you must convey, be sure to tell your story. Don't miss the opportunity to intervene on the life of a wayward child. Don't neglect the chance to win just one soul to Christ. Don't take for granted the purpose of your pain. Don't refrain from revealing your hurt as to alleviate the future hurt of others. See, that's what your story is all about. It's not for you just to endure, for you to brag and boast of how you made it through. It's for the little girl who blames herself for her uncle's unwanted touches. It's for the little boy who chose the street life or school. It's for the single mother who does not see a way out, or a single woman waiting to find her Boaz in a world full of bozos. Whoever your story is for, however you have to give it, whatever it is you have to say, be sure to tell your story. That's it.
All right, everybody. All right. I love that theme. And thank you all for joining us tonight in support and honor of National Poetry Month, as well as authors such as yourself and multiple published authors. Thank you all for your time. Dr. Houston, anything else before we close out?
Again, just thank you all for joining us. Thank you for your words and sharing your work. I think you've inspired us, and I'm sure you've inspired some other people. And those of you that are joining us or will go back and watch the replay, all of the information about how to connect with the authors and how to purchase their books are in the comments. And if you are an author and would love to get connected with schools and get what you have to offer into schools, our Conducting Business with Schools program, that purchasing information is in the comments. And our grant guru, Miss Bejanae, her purchase information is in the comments as well to help you get that grant funding for your book. So thank you all. And we're going to say goodnight.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Be well.